big circle out. Up. And then that's it. Beautiful. If you'd looked at the deep.
I do look at it. No, I can't look at it.
Say we've got the upstream breeze here, and you've done this a couple of times where you've lifted, you've set the fly up here, circle around, and then just tap forward. Okay, now look at the anchor. Look at the anchor. That's it. Now you look at the rod tip, drop it, then so you can circle up those stairs. Circle up the stairs, and then just tap it forward. So there, it stays
so
on it the
here.
whole. There, that's it. Okay, and then just tap it forward. So tap it forward in that lane. Now you see the way the rod came over here?
Yeah.
It's got to stay on the wall. You wouldn't have lit your match. There, that's it. There, pull. Pull, stop. Pull. Pull, stop. Pull.
I don't see it as far.
Then back away, then forward. Out the way, back away, then forward. Dump the apple. We watch this. And there. Out the way. There.
Right, let's just do a nice flick for a roll cast. Flick for a roll cast, that's it. Good. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did not just meet you last week.
Yeah.
I met you back in March at Ronnie's All About Fishing event.
Yeah, excellent.
And this is, by the way, Willie Holmes.
Hi there.
And he was running the fly casting station at the event. And I remember at the very end of it, I kind of made my way over because Rod had me working really hard that day, so I had no time to go to any of the booths.
He's a hard taskmaster.
He is.
Do something.
But no, I made my way over to your booth and I thought, I want to try this fly casting thing. And we chatted for a bit, we practiced, and then you offered to take us out. Yeah. So last week was our first lesson, and then I actually took what I picked up from you and I practiced at home. And then before I'm heading back to the island for the school year, you offered to do another lesson with us today.
She's a good teacher because she practices.
I have to do my homework.
Yeah, not very good. I mean, we met at the show. I was there with loop fly fishing tackle, and I think it was the FFF were running the main part. So you had the guys there just so that I don't take any light away from the other guys. No, it's been a great couple of sessions, and I do honestly believe that Kitty can become a really good caster, and I don't say that
Can
lightly,
you say that?
because after having said some of the stuff I'd say, that I would not give you credit where credit's, credit's got to be due. So no, actually, you've done really, really well.
I was telling you earlier today that my very first couple of fish that I ever caught were on the fly.
Yeah.
But it was seriously luck. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And it was, my first time going out. Fly fishing for me has always been like, I've had this wall up and it just won't go down. And even though I do these filming projects with Rod, we're putting ourselves out there, but I always beg him to cut out any kind of fly fishing part with me, whether it's casting. I don't mind the reeling in because I can do that.
Yes.
Or, holding the rod, but just the casting part I've been really self-conscious with. And the last couple days that we've spent with you, I actually cannot believe the improvements I'm seeing. I mean, like,
I see. It's absolutely amazing what I see.
It's mind-blowing.
You're a really good student. I would say what the issue is with Kitty is that you want to be so good straight away. You're asking all the questions with regard to casting and rivercraft. So you're so involved in it that you put so much pressure on yourself. So the stuff that you probably have thought that Rodney should cut out in the past, probably shouldn't, because you will be a wonderful rod crafter. I mean that sincerely. So because you take the instruction really, really well. Now, I'm not any better than anybody else at this. It's just the fact that I've studied long enough. I've been very lucky to be involved with a couple of fly casting organisations. It's taken me quite extensively around the world with their assessor training of new instructors, new assessors. That's actually something I've done out of selfishness, Rodney, because I learn from every time I do something like that from another prospective instructor. So you're not just gaining from my experience there, you're gaining from the fact that I've assessed A, B, C or D, and I've got little hints and ideas off all of those. You steal ideas. Well, I mean, there's a melting pot of ideas around the whole fishing world, isn't there? So we started off there with the cast to start with. I mean, you moved the rod for the first time last Monday in front of myself. And your cast was brilliant. I mean, you were doing circle C's without knowing they were circle C's.
It's from what I've seen online or YouTube or other anglers where you think you got it and it looks pretty, but it wasn't accurate.
And remember, we quoted Stevie Morrow. I mean, I'd like to give credit where credit's due. And Stevie Morrow's a guide that a lot of guys and a lot of girls will know here in BC. He uses a little acronym. He's a qualified instructor, THCI instructor of TSR. Direct a target, first of all, where you're going to take that fly. This is what happens with fly casting, the spey casting especially. People just chuck it and flip it across the river, flip it. So if that TSR is target, then the S part of it is stance. Organise a stance towards that target that you're going to go at, and then react to that. And that's simply whatever way the wind's telling you to do, because as we mentioned with the spey cast, I mean, we're doing a lot of work on the double spey today, and the double spey is for a downstream breeze. It's to keep yourself safe, because ultimately we covered your overhead cast. We use little acronyms, like the little terms like chopping the wood, to basically give you that stop, because once you get that stop off the bog standard roll cast, all that the spey casts are, you have a little manipulation of the line before you carry into a roll cast for your delivery. So whether it's on your left side or whether it's on your right side, today I'm sure Rod will get some really good video footage of you doing it on river right and river left. The cast still has to be the same. The wind tells us what way we do which cast we choose. Which bank we're on basically tells us which shoulder we're going to come off, whether we do it off our right shoulder or off our left shoulder. And then, judging by Stevie's remarks, the TSR, which stance we take up.
But I never thought of that. I only thought of your roll casting, your overhead casting, and that's all I would ever think about.
Yes.
I didn't know, it was only because of that first lesson you did with me, and when we stood up at the top of the run, and you asked me to do the D-loop roll casting, I could feel that it wasn't working because of where I was standing, my position,
and where the river was taking where the water was taking the leader.
And so before that, I didn't know. I would stand there and I'd get frustrated and I would cast over and over again to the point where I'm just I burnt myself out.
You're hitting the line. You're gripping the rod tightly. That's all happens, and that's actually one of the best comments I've had from somebody. Whenever you mentioned that, well, what can we do different? So we just moved straight into a double spey. So we did, or if the wind was coming in the upstream direction, we do the circle cast or the snap T that you were saying you were doing earlier. So we do a snap T, circle C For an upstream breeze, we want to make sure that the fly goes upstream of the target. You stand whichever way you want towards the target. I know I'm looking at an imaginary target here. You use that TSR. Target, stance, react. So your reaction is, what's the wind telling me to do? Which bank am I on? And then I'll do, all of these spade casts are basically just a finishing point. If we freeze frame it, it's a roll cast. So it is. We have little bits of manipulation that might look fairly fancy, but they're not. They're
it
just
looks
for your
incredibly
safety.
fancy.
Yeah.
And one thing that because I've had multiple instructors, but no one ever on the river with me, and that's what I primarily do, is I river fish.
Yeah.
But you broke up each part of the cast into little chunks, because that's what I feel like I can only take. I can't take everything all in one go. I need to do, like you said, A, B, C, D, shoot it out.
Yeah.
And that for me works so well. And even Rod was saying that too, just slowing it down and just thinking about each part that you're doing. Because before I tried when I was fly fishing without your help, I would just
well, ultimately, as you get really comfortable with it, that's the sort of stuff you can do, but you're aware totally of where it's going to go, and you'll not frustrate yourself because you're able to move the rod. And remember that the rod directs the line where to go. Wherever the rod tip, there's a little saying we have: wherever the rod tip goes, the line follows. So if you can draw a straight line with the rod tip, the line will follow the straight line, and that's why it's so imperative whenever we do these spey casts, that, or any form of cast, that if we can go between the shortest distance between point A and point B is a straight line, most effective distance. So if we can go in a straight line backwards and forwards, where permitted. Obviously sometimes we have to chop and change if we're looking to cast under trees. But if you're looking to get it really effective where you feel it, and this is the thing that I've saw over the last couple of sessions, is that you really do feel what a fly rod does now.
Again, thank you for taking your time and teaching Rod and I so many different fly fishing techniques. From the first couple posts, we've already had people asking questions on how they can reach you or about the products that you use. So how do they get a hold of you? Okay, you can contact me by email. My email is willieloop@hotmail.com. I'm also the BC and Alberta representative area manager for Loop fly fishing tackle, and that's primarily what I sort of use. So if anybody wanting to get their hands on some really good loop tackle to try before they buy, without the rain shadow rod, this is actually a loop reel and line that we've been using today. Kitty's enjoyed this, this actual line we've been using. It's a new one from our range called the Loop OptiFlex, and is basically a form of shooting headline, floating line. We have lots of products. We have our new 7X that I think Rodney really enjoyed throwing with, and yourself. They are, we do provide excellent tackle right through the range of fly fishing, from single-handed, double-handed, clothing and apparel, and they're available at a couple of local stockists. We have Fred's Custom Tackle in Abbotsford and Chilliwack. We also have Michael and Young have carry loop product as well. They're in Surrey and I think Broadway, and we have other dealers throughout the province and a couple in Alberta. We have Reed's Tackle Shop in Edmonton and Bow River Trout Fitters in Calgary. So we're a well-known company with all the guides. A lot of the professionals that work in the trade know loop products very well, and I think that you actually like what we've used already. It pairs very well with your rain shadow. Thank you. I actually couldn't believe how line made such a difference. And the thing is, if you have questions about what kind of rod suits you, if you take a lesson from Willie, he will be able to tell you what works best, right? Yeah, you're that skilled. You can do that.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been doing fly casting courses with Fred's for a long time, and quite often we'll get a group of 6 or 8 anglers come, and three of them out of the 6 or the 8 will have misbalanced outfit, which makes it hard, makes it difficult. If you've got good tools and balanced tools for fly fishing, certainly you'll make a lot better job. You felt a big difference with the line that we used. Apologies for the almost blasphemous word there. There's lots of people that think that they can get away with any form of tackle and mismatch and whatever. If it's balanced, it'll work for you. Also, as a little last thing before we wrap up, if you're going to spend anything in your fly fishing money on tackle, make sure it's the line. The line's the important bit. So it is. We can make most rods work. Rods, you felt our 7Xs there. They are an absolutely graceful, beautiful bit of kit. But if you've got a decent line, it'll help.
immensely.
It helps
It
immensely.
shot out so smoothly.
Makes such a difference.
And when I tried your rod that you had here too,
Yes.
I couldn't believe just when I was bringing that, you know, the line across and then up around the staircase and over to my shoulder, forming the D-loop, I just did this and it was, I could tell when to go forward.
Yes.
Whereas on my setup before, I had no idea. And that's why you were telling me to look all the time.
Yeah. Look. Your eyes are your instructor whenever I'm not standing beside you or whoever your other instructors have been in the past. You can be your own instructor, so you can.
Release!
Okay. Release!
Okay, we better wrap it up because Rod's definitely getting antsy. Right, Rod? All right.
Yep.
Until next time, good luck fishing.
Good luck fishing and good luck casting. Tight loops to everybody.
Yeah, good luck for me. Wish me luck.